week on Wednesday at 8:30 Mountain Time. That is 7:30 if you're on the West Coast, 10:30 if you're on the East Coast, and 8:30 a.m. if you're here in the Rocky Mountains. So good morning, everyone, and happy Valentine's Day. We have been off for a week. Last Wednesday, we were, in fact, on the island of Maui in Hawaii and just flew in last night, in fact, and happy to be back, though. Really, 1 week just isn't enough. I could have easily spent 10 days or a couple of weeks over there. But to get a little bit of a break or recharge and ready to tear up tax season now. So no excuses. Happening to come back the day before Valentine's Day. First of all, we usually prepare some kind of a topic and send an email to all of our contacts for whom we're grateful. Didn't really get around to doing that simply because of the vacation. So what we are doing instead this week is just kind of free forming and I guess improvising. That's the word I'm looking for. Excuse me. So thinking about Valentine's Day, love does kind of come into taxes to a certain extent. There are 5 filing statuses, and 2 of them are filing statuses specific to married couples. If you are married, you have to choose one of these 2, either married filing joint or married filing separate. The IRS considers you married if you were married on or before the 31st of December of the year in which you're doing your taxes. And that is, of course, assuming you're on the calendar year, but most people are. All of my clients are, as well as ourselves. Calendar year is the way to go, especially if you are married, because keep in mind that if you file any other fiscal year, which is any month other than okay, start over. If your year starts with any month other than January, then you're on a fiscal year. And if you do that, then both of you are on it. And that kind of makes life difficult, honestly. If one person's an entrepreneur and the other person is a wage earner, for example, then you basically have to pull one of you into the other person's year, so to speak. Really don't do it unless there's an absolutely compelling reason why you have to. Okay. And there usually isn't. So, but if you are married, you've got to file either joint or separate. So my recommendation always is default to married filing joint because there are more tax credits and benefits available to you, especially if you have children. You don't qualify for the child tax credits if you file separately. That's one thing. There's some others. American Opportunity Credit, which is education, is another one. There is a list of them, certainly. And let's see, I'm not really thinking of them right off the top of my head, but there are a number of earned income credit is another one. That's if you have a certain amount, certain income ceiling, and have worked for a living, have earned income, so to speak. This credit is especially handy for folks with, working level income and a number of children. That credit is unavailable to you as well as you file married filing separately. It is available to people filing head of household. But that is a filing status that is for folks who are not married. Head of household basically is exactly what it sounds like. That is, you are responsible for dependents, but you are not married. So in any event, married filing joint has the benefits of having certain tax credits that are not available to those who are otherwise married filing separate. So why do that? File separate. There are going to be some cases where one of the spouses is going to pay considerably less tax if that person files separately. You don't always want to commingle your finances. But again, it's a better tax result for both people in the long run if you do file jointly. But it comes up once in a while. Let's say one person, for example, has an outstanding debt and it actually causes the other person a hardship. Filing separate can, on some rare occasions, actually be the better way to go. So the best thing to do is to sit down and look over the net effect of doing both, and then choose the one that in basically ends you with a better end result. That being that you pay less tax. There is no law that says you have to file separate versus joint. You can choose one or the other, and you are able to go back and forth year to year. In fact, though, as I would advise, a married filing joint is going to be the best default to go to. One other thing is the married filing separate status will land you in the tax bracket tables as single, which is a higher rate. Married filing joint actually has a more favorable tax bracket and table. So your combined income is actually taxed at a lower rate. So, like I say, if you're unsure exactly which way to go, go joint, because chances are very good that you're going to be paying much less tax. So, with that, and keep in mind too, the last subject, and don't really like to bring this up on Valentine's Day, but it's important because divorce is a way of life in our country. Um, there's a high percentage of marriages that do end in divorce. So the question comes up for me, what do I do about taxes? You go back to the same parameter of IRS's definition of a marriage, which is you are married if you were married on or before the 31st of December. So if you are in the process of getting separated, but your divorce decree wasn't final in 2023 and you're still working on it, or you got it done, but it was on January 10th of this year, you were married last year. So you have to make a decision whether or not you can file married filing jointly. You're able to discuss it and get it done amicably enough, or through the court system, or however, court decree usually overrides any other consideration. So it's probably best if you did have that addressed in whatever final paperwork you have. So, but with that, let me end on a high note. If you are lucky enough to be married to your best friend, as I am, then married filing joint is definitely the way to go. You are going to get a more favorable tax table calculation. You have many more credits available to you, and life is good. So, at least as good as it can be in a society where your government taxes you. To pay the least amount of tax possible, make sure that you do talk to a professional. If you have any doubts at all, remember, plumbers do plumbing, and barbers do haircuts, and professional tax preparers are here to help you get the best possible result on your taxes. And if you would like to talk to us about that, comment in whatever social media you happen to be watching on this. And another thing too is this is a question and answer. So if you have any questions at all, throw those in your comments. We will actually read them live for you next week, Wednesday at 8:30 Mountain Time. So until then, have an amazing rest of the week. Have a beautiful Valentine's Day today, of course, and an awesome weekend. And if you have a chance, do something randomly kind for a stranger. Until next week on Wednesday, February 21st, so long, and have a beautiful Valentine's Day. Bye for now.